And oh, it looks like there's some folks already on, so that is so nice to see. Um, we'll just kind of chat for like a minute in case there's anyone else that's joining us. But I am really happy to have Alex here today. It's been a beautiful Sunday, and I know, Alex, you probably spent yesterday volunteering at the Fullerton Train Museum.
No, I was busy yesterday.
Oh,
Usually, most Saturdays I'm there. But I was
that's right.
busy
It's
that
like
Saturday. I couldn't make it.
Thanksgiving week and holiday
Yeah, it was a
week.
little
Anyway,
hectic.
yeah. That's right. I know yeah, you're there like most
Most
weeks.
Saturdays I'll be up there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. I think we will go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
In fact, there might be someone else popping up here, I think. But I have today Alex from the Fullerton Train Museum, and I went there a while back. Many of you have seen this episode. If you haven't, you can check it out, but it has been its way at the top in popularity. And Alex was just really wonderful that day and showed me around, and is a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to what's going on there. Hey, Nate, nice. I always love, yes, I should say that too as we get started. So if you're experiencing this live, I'm so happy about that. I'm really glad to have a Train Talk with Lisa live where you're able to comment in real time, be part of it, be part of the conversation, pose your questions. So whenever anything comes up, if you have a little thing you want to, just add, feel free to do that, or you have a question, just write it in the chat. So please feel free. Yeah, really happy to have you a part of this in an extra engaging way. So yeah, so I met Alex a while ago, and if you've seen the episode, you know that I saw a bunch of things, but then that day he also told me that there was an acquisition in progress. They were pretty sure they were going to get something. Maybe it wasn't a done deal, and so it's kind of like, ooh, something's coming in. And they have since acquired this item, and so I do want to talk with you, Alex, more about how you got into trains and all this stuff, and all the time that you give to this museum. But I'm going to kind of like dive in a little bit to some of this meaty stuff that I've also been curious about. I know you and I have been in touch, but I'm just like, oh my gosh. So, oh yay, okay. uh is it a meter link train? Hmm. Okay. So yeah, and for you, Alex, too, if you see a question that's posed there, feel free to like work that into what you say. But so Alex, can you just start telling us about what, maybe to a little overview, doesn't have to be that quick, of what is already at the museum, which again, you will have seen the exterior of things if you watch the episode, or you can catch up. And then what it is that you've been acquiring. And I really want to hear about this acquisition process as much as you can share. Like, how does this all work?
All right. Well, hello, folks. So I'm Alex from the Fullerton Train Museum. Right now, our museum has 7 pieces of equipment. We have 4 passenger cars and 3 cabooses, as well as some other miscellaneous railroad equipment. Our newest acquisition is a chair car, a Union Pacific chair car. That was a recent donation that we got. We're using it as a display car. We're gonna put display tables on the inside, have railroad memorabilia and antiques and vintage train items on the inside of this car for display. Like a normal museum, all the glass cases and all the, info boards, except in a rail car. So that's the whole new thing that we're getting. That's the one of the upcoming donations that we're expecting. That's the first one that has arrived, and we are expecting a few more things.
Interesting. Okay. And how hard is it to acquire something like this? I'm just, did they come to you? Do you have your places you check in with like on a regular basis to try to get a hold of these things? Is it usually a donation? just how does this all happen? I mean, a lot of train cars just get, and never see the light of day again. So yes, talk to me.
So the way that this rail car originally was a restaurant up in LA. It was called Carney's Hot Dogs, something like that.
This
If
was
you reckon.
Carney's?
This originally was a Carney car. There's a few locations. This was from their Glendale location that closed down. So this was a
Oh,
Carney's restaurant. They have a few locations in LA that serve hot dogs and other things out of rail cars. So
yes,
this
it's
originally was a
I
Carney's.
wanna go there for an upcoming episode to the Sunset
Yeah.
Boulevard location, so
So
that
yeah,
that'll
the
be great.
so yeah, they still have a few locations open for now. Now the one that closed down on Glendale, the car got moved to Chino, then got moved to Anaheim. It's kind of been moving around in storage, and it was there's been push about, oh, should we donate it, should we scrap it, what should we do.
Oh,
Eventually our museum pushed enough, and we got the car donated to the museum. We got it if we can move it, so we had to pay for shipping, and that wasn't, that was a little bit of expense, but we got it to the museum, and it worked out. It's being currently restored in the museum, and we're working on it. In a few weeks, hopefully we'll be able to take guests through.
that is so interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Like I said, I have passed by Carney's. For those of you who've ever been on Sunset Boulevard, or if you ever come to LA, you'll see this packed train car, Union Pacific train car, sitting there, kind of right in the Sunset Strip, like busy hip area, and lots of people eating there. And I have not been, but it's on my agenda. So that is so cool that it's one of those cars. Okay, so in terms of shipping, what are these shipping options for such an item?
So for the rail cars, there's a few options that you can do depending on how good quality the rail car is, how new it is, what's the condition. The cheapest, usually the best way to move it is by rail. Because the rail cars can go on the train tracks, and hopefully you can get a rail, like a freight carrier. You can do a special move where you can just move it from the rail yard or the storage place or wherever it is, move it by rail to the train museum, and then it's in the museum. It's all connected, and that's what we usually try to shoot for. Most of our equipment has been moved by rail into the museum, but this train was so old. This restaurant was so
Mhm.
old that it doesn't have any brake lines. It didn't have any of the safety mechanisms that were required for it to run on the rail line. So it had to be moved by truck. So if you can't move it by rail, you have to move it by truck, and that's exponentially more expensive, and it's a big logistical challenge. But we knew the right people, and we got it trucked over.
Wow.
So we
Wow.
had
Yeah.
there's a video on YouTube. It's on my channel, and I show the process of the trucks moving it in. We had to rent this big crane to move it from the truck onto the tracks. It was this big process. The company was Bragg. They did a great job. So I'll have to, it was a great process.
Wow. And what is your channel, Alex?
Point Capistrano on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay, so there you go, folks. So once you guys got a hold of this car, um, what have you been doing with it? Because I know you've had it now, mm, 2 months longer.
It's been a few months.
Okay, so between restoring it, getting it just presentable, etc., and then also in terms of safety, because I know that's been a big piece. So yeah, tell me.
So for the rail car, because again this is a vintage car, and some of the materials they used weren't are dangerous these days. Some of these older cars can have asbestos and
Oh,
lead pipes and a bunch. Now we're lucky because this was a restaurant before it got taken out of service, or after it got taken out of service, it became a restaurant. They had to comply with FDA approval and all that, so they had to take all the asbestos out. They had to take all the lead pipes out. So all the dangerous stuff is all out of there. So we're
oh,
good. So a lot of like the really scary stuff, we don't have to worry about. And we checked it. We made sure that they removed everything properly, and they did. Everything is good. Um, but in that process of converting the rail car to a restaurant, they cut a big hole in the side of it to combine it with another rail car to make like more room. So when
oh.
the car was in Anaheim in storage, we had to replace a big section of that wall. So we had to get aluminum and wood paneling, and we had to reinstall that section of the wall before trucking it over to our location. And then once it's at our location, then we do the final touches. We had to redo segments of the floor because there's some holes in the floor. We had to tear down the vinyl roofing because it was peeling off. It was looking nasty. So we have to tear off the vinyl roof, and we have to put up new roofing. Most of what's left is cosmetic, mostly. We still have to do electrical work and plumbing work. We have AC units in storage that we're going to apply to the rail car. So, because AC is important, and it's in the summer months in these metal rail cars, it gets really warm in there. So we got AC units coming.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's coming along. It's coming along.
Wow, wow. I mean, I don't know how you guys all. Oh, yeah, Spacey Cat. I'm sorry, you had a question. Um, I think we answered it right. It's not Metrolink. It's
It's sorry, no, it's not a Metrolink car,
uh,
but we are working with Metrolink to potentially acquire some of their retired equipment. They recently retired a lot of equipment, and we have been working with them. It's been a long process, but
um,
hopefully we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we are looking at future donations from Metrolink.
that's right. I think that day when I talked to you, that's what we kind of talked about. What
That was
was
one of the
percolating
things.
with Metrolink. Okay, will you get a freight train?
Currently, we have no. Actually, we do. We do own a boxcar. The Fullerton Train Museum does own a boxcar. It's currently in storage at Anaheim. When that will be moved to the museum, we don't know. We currently own it, and it's in Anaheim. We just have to get it from Anaheim to Fullerton. It's a 40-foot refrigerated boxcar. It was used on the fruit trains back when those oranges. Back when Orange County and LA had a bunch of those citrus groves, fruit groves. Back when there was a big fruit industry in Southern California, they used these 40-foot refrigerated boxcars to move fruit across the country, and we have one of those. And it's in pretty good shape. Um, and we do own it. We just need to move it.
Okay, I love the comments. Anyways, keep them coming. Comments and questions. It's fun. It makes it better for everybody. Okay, so I or like bouncing around a little bit, but in terms of the interior, you talked about it being Spacey Cat. Um, you talked about basically they're going to be display cases, and it's going to be like a museum inside this new car. So where are you getting these items from? And is there a place like if someone in our lovely audience, our Train Talk with Lisa community is like, man, I have this awesome thing that I want to donate to the museum and have my name on a plaque that um
Mhm.
yeah, how would they do that? Or do you already have everything kind of covered or
No, we have a lot of room for donation. We are a 501(c)(3) organization, so we take tax deductible donations. If you have a interesting historical railroad piece, but you don't know what to do with it, it's kind of just on paperweight, and you want to donate it, we do accept donations. We do have a big shed full of items that we are going to display in these rail cars. Once we get it cleaned up, once we get the secure cases, we have a bunch of really cool stuff. But we're always open to more. If you have something that you're interested in donating, you can come to our location. I wouldn't recommend mail. We've had some people mail in. We have a PO box. We have had mail in items before. Sometimes they break. A lot of these fragile items can
oh
break in the mail,
no.
so we don't usually recommend that. But if you drive up to our location any Saturday when we're open, we will take donations.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Spacey Cat um said, where did the wheel come from? I saw it in the video. That is a really good attention to detail because that was a quick shot. I like thought for a second, I'm like, the wheel. And I kind of go like boom, boom, boom. And then we start the tour. And I start talking to Alex. So, Alex, this wheel that's kind of at the beginning, uh, tell us about this wheel.
So the wheel, I'm not sure where it came from. It was there ever since I've been at the museum. The little plaque says it's from some car shop in Texas from the 20s. I'm not exactly sure how it got to our museum. I think the story goes one day some guy left it there and it's too heavy to move. So now it's just kind of permanently there. I don't really know what's up with it. It's kind of interesting. I never really given it some thought. Some of the older guys use it as a bench, just sit on it. I don't really. It's just some freight car wheel from the 20s. I don't have much information on it or how it got
Okay.
there or the significance of it, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know too much
Yeah.
about it though.
Well, when I go back, so I was talking to Alex earlier about how I was probably gonna plan to go back once their new Union Pacific car is available to the public. And so maybe I'll check out that wheel again, zoom in extra close, give it some more time, and ask if anybody has some extra insights. The Fullerton episode, there was a lot in it. It wasn't like it was 2 minutes long, but there's a lot to say and to share. And it was all exteriors that day. So yeah, I need to go back, go inside, and get a zoom in on this wheel and hear more. That's neat. I think it'd be really cool to make a donation to a museum and know that people are seeing that every weekend. And
Oh yeah, the museums entirely are mostly run on donations. We do get some grants, but most of our operations, how we fund our operations, how we
uh,
have these objects to display, most of it comes from donation. So we're a very small museum, but we do get a good amount of donations weekly, and it does. We're very thankful for our community.
so to talk a little bit about you for a second. Again, feel free, folks, to keep questions and comments coming, and we'll definitely give them their time too. I think back to high school, and I played soccer and I played volleyball, and then I was like president of French club and in the environmental club and in some musicals and whatever, doing all these things. My dad did have his train store then,
Hmm.
but you were in high school.
Yeah, I
You are one of the youngest people who I've talked to on camera.
yeah
So,
I just started college just last year. But yeah, I just graduated high school. Yeah, about a year ago. Um,
really?
yeah,
Wait, how old are you?
I'm not 19.
Okay, I totally blanked. I had this. Was your friend was still in high school? The other guy
Yeah,
there?
Cody's still in high school. He's the kid that was next to me in the clip. He's still in high school. Yeah, he's a first or second year high schooler, I think.
Okay, maybe that's why. That's how I got confused.
Yeah, we have a few high schoolers at the museum. Most of our younger, uh, actually, I'd say about half of our younger, like teenager volunteers are in high school. We have a pretty interesting distribution of volunteers. We have, teenagers, in like early 20s, and then we have, you know, 60s to 80s. We don't have too many of the, 20 to 40. We have a few, there are a good few. Most of them are either younger or older though. So for our younger volunteers, about half of them are still in high school.
That's a lot.
Sorry, I have a sneeze.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
lost it.
Sneeze. Bless you. All right, let it come when it comes. That yeah, that is a whole lot. I mean, I remember when I met you two, and it was like, wow. I've been filmed like the National Train Show, and so there were people of all ages, and it really depends. Some places have more of this kind of or this blah 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 blah. But I really love when things are multi generational. In fact, even like Thanksgiving in their day, like it was really important to me to be at one like that. I just, and I know I talked last week with Otto and in talking with you too for our episode about like how do you learn these, how is this stuff getting restored? Who who is the instructor? Who is guy leading the process? And also when the Santa Fe episode that I put out like a week ago, I mean, similarly, like, oh, well, I learned from the person who learned from the person who worked on the Santa Fe. So it's, passing down knowledge. So, anyways, share with me some stuff when it comes to, okay, half of the people being in high school. So
Or
I'm
half of our
just,
younger volunteers.
okay,
Yeah,
so,
so we only have for our younger volunteers, we only have maybe 5, 6, 7 like teenage years volunteers.
okay.
and about half of them, I think, yeah, about half, maybe 2 or 3 of those are still in high school. Most of them are off to college or have graduated high school and are in the workplace or have retired.
Okay, okay. So high school is the youngest of any volunteer, right?
We have we do have a family. We have, like, a grandpa and grandma, their daughter and her son all volunteer at the museum. So it's like 3 generations all working at the same organization, and it's really cool. They're
I
all great
love that.
people.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I was down with the Orange County Model Engineers like a week or
Mhm.
two ago. And also there were like a bunch of like several families and stuff. And it was just really, yeah, really, really special. Okay, that's cool. So it was, yeah, Cody and you were definitely like the youngest when I was there.
Mhm.
And then okay, so of all that, so you started though volunteering when you were in high school.
Oh, yeah, I started when I was in high school. I believe it was after COVID, right after COVID, 2021, I think. 2020, 2021, I think I started volunteering, if I recall correctly. It's been a while. Those, COVID years kinda the time's kinda fuzzy,
Yeah,
so I'm
it's
not
so weird.
entirely sure when I, started.
I
I believe it was
know.
around 2020, 2021 when I started.
Well, I would think especially after that, I mean, at any time, but especially after that period, it was probably really, really nice to have this community every Saturday. And also, in speaking to Spacey Cat about when it's open on Saturdays, right? Is it 9 to noon?
Yeah, first and third Saturday from 9 to noon. We're open twice a week. On Google, it says every week. We're trying to get that fixed. They're not listening. We're not open every day. We're only work open the first Saturday and the third Saturday from 9 to noon.
Okay, there you go. First and third Saturdays, 9 to noon. Um, yeah, I'm sure that was just a really nice place to go then on a regular basis and to have community and
Hmm.
everything.
Oh yeah, they're all
Um,
really nice people, so it was fun.
so how is it that of all the different activities out there and keeping up with school, I mean, I don't know, I feel like high school was a lot to keep up with and college too. I mean, I did some like intramural sports, like club volleyball. I did like things here and there, but when I think about my college years, I didn't get really involved in a lot of activities. It felt like all I could do was just to like keep up with academics and stuff. And so, of all the things you could be doing, Alex, every other Saturday, how is it that you wound up at the Fullerton Train Museum?
Well, you see, when I got out of juvie, they required some public service hours, and the Fullerton Museum was hiring, and I knew the guys were pretty nice. So I think it worked out pretty well. I got my service hours in, and I met a really nice community.
Okay.
No,
I thought you
no,
might be kidding, but like if you weren't kidding,
that's
that
what I
would be
tell
fine
people.
too.
No, that's what I tell people. No, I've been about I go up to Fullerton every so often. I just watch the trains go by, and the museum was open one day, and I went through the doors, and they needed volunteers, and I got an application, and I filled it out, did the insurance thing, and I've been stuck under contract ever since.
Oh my gosh, interesting. Okay, someone talked about food. Food is good. I like
Food is
food.
very good.
There is the cafe at the Fullerton station,
The Fullerton
and you said it was, yeah, please share it, Alex, because you said it was really good, huh?
the cafe at the station is very good. They the I can't complain. They make good food. We do have a dining car at the museum. We no longer serve food in it because we need to follow the FDA guidelines, USDA guidelines, on the government
Yeah.
regulation, and that's
Uh-huh.
a bit too much for our organization. But if you are interested in food at Fullerton, there is the Fullerton Cafe right on the station platform, and the Spaghetti Factory, which was an old station depot, and turned it into a restaurant. And it's also there's really good food there.
Huh. It was a spaghetti factory?
The restaurant's called the Spaghetti Factory. It's like a little chain restaurant in Southern California. They make Italian food. It's an Italian restaurant, and it was converted from an old train depot. And they converted it into a Italian restaurant called the Spaghetti Factory. That's pretty good.
Oh, Oh, okay. So that's what's there where you were eating afterwards, right?
So yeah, the outdoor eating is the cafe, the Santa Fe Cafe. It's right on the
It's
platform. You can watch the trains go by, and then right if you continue walking down the platform, at the end of the platform, opposite from the museum, there's a Italian restaurant called the Spaghetti Factory, and that's also very good.
okay. I did not know about that. Because yeah, if you make a nice little adventure out to the Fullerton Train Museum, you'll see the station there. And if I might say, if you want to like catch all the volunteers from the museum after hours, you might catch them at the cafe there. I saw them. Everybody was like eating there, and it seemed pretty busy. So,
Yeah,
um,
we a lot of our volunteers go to that cafe right after closing. It's a good time.
yeah. So there's lots going on there. I mean, you can catch the museum and then grab some lunch afterwards. And as you've seen in my episode, there's a lot going on there. There was at least one other guy who had his camera and was like filming the trains going by when I was there. In fact, he's in my episode for like not even a hot minute, but like I'm walking beside him, nice guy, Jason Gunther.
Gunther. That name doesn't ring a bell. I
Or
do
is
know
it
that there
Justin
are
Gunther?
the what?
Justin Gunther? Jason Gunther. I think it's Jason Gunther. Well, I
I
should
can't.
I should look on my computer. But if you guys look up, I think yeah, he has a YouTube channel and
Hmm.
he's been I think it's literally Jason Gunther. I'm like, I saw he posted something today. So yeah, it is a hot spot. What's been cool is like there are lots of people who are like, oh yeah, I used to go to the Fullerton, station and I love it there and blah blah blah. And there's so much going on and there are a million trains that go by every day. And then there's some other people who are like, I had no idea that the museum was there and I've been living down the street for years and years and years. So I know like a lot of people were very happy to discover the museum.
Oh yeah,
um,
the it's a small museum, but it's nice. It's we used to have major events before COVID. We had major events called the Railroad Days, where we had these big community events, and it was great for publicity. We had thousands of people come to the museum. We had the steam locomotive, the 3751 steam locomotive. It's a separate organization. They restored this giant steam train, and they roll it down to the museum, and it was this big event. And then COVID, there's all that happened, and it's been very difficult to have one since. Uh, if someone has $14,000 they'd like to donate for us to put it on again, we can do that, but there is a financial cost to it that we just currently can't afford.
Interesting to know. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Again, you can pipe up now if you'd like, but I'm always curious about that. Like, what is the cost? So the 3751 is what was in my last episode at the rail safety event at Union Station. And so that was very cool to see and to hop on board. And I think they said it had not been out in a year, if I'm not mistaken. So to speak
Yeah,
to what
and
you're saying,
the last time I went out, it was at Fullerton. We had a rail safety event at Fullerton. It wasn't a railroad days. It was a lot smaller. It was a rail safety event, just like a publicity
uh,
thing for safety. And we did have 3751 there, and it was a good experience. But it wasn't like railroad days. It wasn't as big. Wasn't as
yeah.
publicized. But we did have 3751 at the museum. We work with that organization, that boxcar I mentioned previously, that came from the 3751 group that used to be owned by them. Now it's owned by us. So yeah, we work very closely with the 3751 group.
With the San Bernardino Historical Society?
Yeah, San Bernardino Historical Society.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I spoke a lot. Tim, and I want
Tim,
to
I
say Warren.
I don't know any of the personally. I don't know any of the guys there. I've never worked
Okay,
with them personally. I just know a lot of our guys, like the
good.
museum board, the higher up board, works with
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and they're very nice people. I do like their organization a lot. Uh, I would really like to see another railroad days at the museum. It's just we
Yeah.
have there's a big financial cost, big logistical challenge. Recently, a hotel company has bought the parking lot next to the museum. So whenever they start construction, we can't host railroad days in that parking lot anymore. We're gonna have to move
Oh,
location somewhere. So we're gonna, that's just another challenge added to it. So we'll see what happens.
Huh. I wonder though if there'll be an increase in folks coming by from the hotel, like, local
Oh
attraction,
yeah.
and it's right on in the parking lot.
Yeah, so we were working with a hotel organization too. They're cool people. We're hoping that this is all successful and there's good collaboration between them and us. We're helping each other out.
Yeah.
So we're excited. We're excited to see where the future goes.
So Spacey Cat mentioned Ivan. Do you know who Ivan is? Ivan's a very
We
nice
do
name.
not speak of Ivan.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm messing. I'm pulling your leg. Don't worry, Ivan. No, I don't recognize that name. I can't say that name sounds
I
familiar
don't
to me.
either. I met one other
I
guy there.
I'm
He
a relatively new volunteer. I've only been there for a year, 2 years. There are a lot of volunteers that have either moved or during COVID. A lot of people have been moving out of California, so we have had a lot of volunteers move to Florida or Tennessee and
Mhm,
Idaho. I mean, we've we're keeping in touch with a lot of them, but a lot of them have been moving out. Maybe some years ago, I know there's a big history to the museum.
mhm.
I think his name was Melodic.
Uh,
Melodic. Can't say that
um,
rings a bell.
yeah, I'll be on the lookout when I go next time. But yeah,
I'll ask around, but no,
Alex
that
says
I
he's not.
can't say that. I
Yeah.
can't say that rings a bell.
Oh, well, I'm glad you had a good experience when you were there, Coco, or whoever goes by Coco. Um, Tell me, okay, so you're right at the Fullerton station. What all do you normally see going by, or what kind of happenings for the actual trains that are going to and fro? And what would you like to say about the station itself?
The station, there are three rail companies that go through Fullerton. There's Amtrak, Metrolink, and BNSF. So two passenger companies and one freight. We get roughly, I think, around 70 to 75 trains a day on a good day through there. The passenger trains are fairly, they're scheduled. They have the same amount of passenger trains every day. Weekend service, weekday service, very scheduled. Freight trains are hit or miss. Sometimes it could be like
Mhm.
every 20 minutes for freight trains. Sometimes it could be every 2 hours. Just depends on the traffic that day. But if you go to Fullerton for a few hours, you're guaranteed to see at least a few trains go by. It's a pretty busy spot if you like to watch trains.
I mean, you all know from the Fullerton Train episode that you probably have seen this point. I mean, I was just like, ah! I mean, it was like, I kind of looked obnoxious, but I was just like, I mean, it was exciting. Like from the second I arrived, one train was going by, and it was almost like by the time I got on the like overpass, I'm looking down, another thing's happening, and then I got down, and it's right there, and especially the BNSF, it just like kept going and going and going, and then there was actually an engineer from the BNSF commented on the episode, and he's like, I had to go through there. I went through there that day. I might have seen you, and I think we realized that he had not but there was another BNSF that did go through that stopped, and he like does a little wave in the episode. So it was, anyways, to also speak to just how many trains, even just BNSFs, that are going by in a given day. Yeah, lots of energy. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask, or anything they want to hear more about? Because I'm also curious about just like the things that you've learned um from the whole train restoration process, or in general from volunteering. Like, what kinds of things are you learning that maybe engineering, design, whatever, maybe they're even just like on other things, like on a personal level, but what are your takeaways that can also maybe transfer to other aspects of life?
A lot of it is very, I'd say it's almost like a STEM field, like a science, technology, engineering, math environment. There's a lot of design that goes into it, a lot of, hands-on science work, engineering work that we do at the museum. I know this weekend, this past Saturday, we were running cabling wire through the new rail car. So that, we have to measure, okay, well, how much wire do we need? What type of wire do we need? What are we running? What are we planning on? What appliances are we installing? So it's a lot of physical, like tangible math and science engineering work that we have to do in the setting. I know our museum president used to be a construction worker, like a
Mhm.
designer, and he blueprints all these designs out by hand on paper. With just a pencil and straight edge, he can design these like blueprints. No computer use, no like modern
Wow.
designing. It's all done on paper by hand. I think those skills are really cool to do all that by hand. Just thinking it and writing it down and
Yeah.
blueprinting it out. Without using a computer or anything modern. That's really cool.
Wow. Wow. And what are you studying in school? And where are you in school?
So I'm currently at the Cal State Fullerton. So I'm right next to the train museum. Yeah, I'm
Oh my
right
God.
around the corner.
Okay. That's convenient. Yeah. Oh my
I'm
God.
a business administration information systems major. It's like a mix of business and IT.
Oh,
So that's what I'm studying. It's a mix of computers and business, and I have an interest in both of those fields. And yeah, it's a fun program.
hmm. So did you grow up spending a lot of time at the Fullerton station or around model trains or what exactly that even got all this going?
Not really. Um, I grew up watching How It's Made. When I was a little kid, I didn't, I watched cartoons and when I was a little kid, but I watched How It's Made a lot, and then
Uh-huh.
just had that, had an interest in machinery and heavy, technology and all that
Mhm.
since I was growing up. I didn't really go to the Fullerton Museum until a few years, Fullerton Station in general until a few years ago. I don't really live near Fullerton, so it's a bit of a drive.
Okay.
Uh, but I do enjoy like railroading in general. But I haven't really grown up with it. But that's just something I've had a hobby as for the past few years.
Is there on that topic ish, is there any way that you or other people at the museum are using AI to answer questions on how to do things and getting the right answers or otherwise in design or other thing? I know it's obviously like in my field, like I've been to events that people are talking about. I mean, in at the greater just like entertainment in general, there's a lot of conversation about, being a photographer and AI, or like I'm in SAG. And so there's conversation about, I mean, there've been the strikes about using our likeness, let me get pictures of you and we'll pay you for a day. And then we're going to use this and for eternity have all this stuff and we don't need you anymore. But I've also talked with people about like, hey, let it be a tool. Like maybe I still edit my videos, but maybe there's, there are questions I can ask AI or let it help me with the marketing of things. And so do things more efficiently, but still have my own personal touch. And anyways, I'm curious if you've been using anything to assist you.
I watched one of the older gentlemen cuss out Siri before, but that's pretty much the extent of AI in the museum.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, I'm sure there are like some people I know they're just like AI, like, or and yeah.
I don't know. No, a lot of our museum work is so niche and so physical. We don't really use AI. For what we do, we don't really have much of a use, like a way
Hmm.
to integrate it, because most of it's all hands-on niche engineering work.
Hmm.
Uh, we don't. I mean, probably the most advanced technology that we use for our day-to-day operations, maybe a calculator for math for measurements.
Okay.
But it's mostly just power tools and rulers and math and for I mean, we use our computer for accounting purposes and that sort of thing, but we don't really use AI. It's not something that's really.
But yeah, there's no like reason to use it. Are and is everything that you guys are doing? Are you using YouTube to look up any how-to videos
I mean,
on this
occasionally
sort of?
I use YouTube. I use Google. That's a very helpful resource for how to do a lot of these niche things. But for even in the rail industry as a whole, AI is very hard to integrate exactly, and everything that could be integrated already has been and has been for a while.
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
things like driverless AI-powered trains have been around since the '70s. It's not necessarily a new technology within the rail industry. Just recently, it's gotten a lot more hype.
Huh. Very interesting. I mean, I'm guessing there are some folks out there, I mean, myself included, that I mean, I have an appreciation for the fact that, again, it's like it's people in person together, collaborating and saying, or here, let me show you how this is done, or blah blah blah, and passing down knowledge, and that kind of human interaction and everything. And I'm sure there are a lot of people with jobs in that field too that are glad that they can't be easily replaced.
Oh yeah. Spacey Cat asked, "How much does it cost to restore the cars in the museum?" A lot of the cars cost a pretty penny. Depends what needs to be work. I think so far, the new car that we got, we spent over I'd say $50,000 currently to where currently is at the museum. We got a grant for it. We got a big grant for it to restore it. We couldn't restore it on our own funds. We did get a grant to repair it, and I think we already spent around $50,000, including shipping, to get it to the current state
Oh,
it is in the museum.
oh my.
And that's
Who's the grant
dozens.
from? Oh,
What?
pardon. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The grant. I think it was the I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. It's some museum organization. They give
Oh,
grants to small museums to help them with projects and whatnot. And it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember what it's called.
that's okay. We can look up on
Um,
the you. So the Fullerton Train Museum, they have a Facebook page. Is that right? Is that the best
we
place for info?
we have a Facebook page. We have a website as well. The If you look up Fullerton Train Museum on YouTube, Google, we have a website and a Facebook page. Yes, those are
Oh,
our best ways of contact and information.
okay.
We have
Perfect.
an Instagram as well. It's not. I don't think as updated as regularly though. But yeah,
Okay.
we do have a few forms of social media.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, so maybe there's information about where the grant, um, who gave you the grant? Because I was just curious, like who all is out there that's providing that kind of support. And um, let's see. Okay. Anyone have another question? And I'm gonna look at my notes. Safety. Um, oh, and I know you said, I think Alex, you and I maybe talked about this the moment before we went live, but if people are wanting to come for a visit, when, well, now they know they can check the website and Facebook also to know when this new car is going to be available. That will be helpful. But can you give them a sense of when it may be open to public?
I would give it at least a month. I would say. It's in no. It's not like a fancy first class shiny car. It's a very right now. It's pretty dilapidated, for lack of a better word. We need to get the holes in the floor patched, the roof all cleaned up. It's safe to walk through. We just want it a little more presentable before we take people through. We want to reduce like the tripping hazards and all the small stuff,
Mhm.
just to get people through safely. Uh, and we need to build an exit for it because right now there's a few foot drop between the door and the platform, the brick floor. So we need to build a little staircase coming out of the car, and it should be good to go. I think in a month or maybe even less.
Okay. Even less if any of you want to volunteer. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, volunteers and donations are greatly accepted, and that's how we finish for these projects. So if anyone is interested, we could use your help.
I love tools. I have a tool bag that is, I need to get a toolbox. It's a tool bag my dad gave me that came with a whole bunch of things. And then I've since then added so much to it that it doesn't close at all. It's this overflowing tool bag. But I've always kind of had an appreciation for like working with my hands. My dad had a workshop in our house when I was a kid, made custom children's furniture. And but I just, it's creating, it's like tactile, and also you wind up with like a finished product, you know? So I think it's very satisfying when you can physically work on something, get some exercise in the process maybe, and then like see the fruits of your labor.
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot of tools at the museum. A lot of the members bring their own tools in. It's a very hands-on environment. So if you have the knack, you like to build things, you like to work with your hands, you like to use power tools and table tools and all the various technologies. It's a great space. This museum's a great space. There's no minimum time. You don't, it's not a you have to be here every week. There's no real strict. It's a very easygoing environment. Of course, we take safety seriously, and the only payment you need to there's a $35 a month payment for insurance purposes. But other than that, it's come whenever you want. We can always use your help. It's a very good environment. I would recommend anyone who's interested. Fullerton Train Museum. We're always open.
Good job. Good plug. Woo. So Derek has asked what both of our dream train trips would be. You go first.
I think the sleeper car on an Amtrak train. I don't really care the route. It's just the sleeper car is so expensive. It's almost as if it's a luxury train trip. Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's a dream train trip. Maybe a private car trip. Forget the little room. Have the entire car to yourself. I know if you're very wealthy, you can own your own passenger rail car, and you can put it at the end of an Amtrak train and take you across the country.
Really?
One of our cars, the sleeper car that we have, used to be one of those. It was some investor, some wealthy dude, had his own rail car, and he'd tack it on the end of an Amtrak train, pay them some fee, and they'd pull his rail car across the country. And he gets to sleep in it. He gets to enjoy all the sights, just away from all the other passengers, and it's his own rail car. Then it just got too expensive for him, so he donated that car to our museum, and that's how we got our sleeper car.
That is wild. Have you guys ever heard of this kind of thing? I mean, I think I just watched some rom-com where, family in LA has their private plane. So, okay, it's the same kind of thing, like you said. And I was just talking to some people about taking an Amtrak sleeper car all the way up to Seattle. And so that's kind of on my radar for next year. And, it's like the holidays. And so my family, we always watch White Christmas. And, I just have vivid memories of everybody like singing along, snow, 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 and all that business. And like the girls up top, like, you know, leaning out the door and the door flying open and all this stuff to their little sleeper car. And you're right. It doesn't look like it's quite the same on Amtrak, but I've never been in a sleeper car on Amtrak, so I haven't checked that out yet.
They've gotten nuts with their price. Usually, it used to be about double coach. So sleeper was about the first smallest sleeper car was about double coach ticket. Now it's like 4 or 5 times a coach class ticket. It's
Uh,
nuts. So that's yeah. I like trains. I don't like them that much. I'm not paying $600 for a train ticket. No, I'd rather fly first class than pay $600. It's
huh. Yeah.
maybe
Interesting.
if I win the lottery. But
Maybe so. I know. I would love to do some kind of sponsorship collaboration with a really nice train company. And
oh
like
yeah,
I follow Belmont, and they're just like awesome trains are popping up like around the world from them. And then there's some others that I know I mentioned, I think in the last one of these, like something a luxury train in Norway, but really like the ones that I've seen in Italy, like
oh yeah.
Tuscany. And I just like, oh my gosh, that would be the best. Ride in the train, hop off, go to a winery or something. Like, oh, it sounds so beautiful. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
we'll
yeah.
see.
The Dream Star, that's going the night train from LA to San Francisco. That's coming in. I think next year they're going to start service. I think it's quarter four of 2025 is when they're expected to start service. And that's something that would be really cool to check out. That's some luxury. I don't know if it's luxury, but it's some high end train that goes from LA to San Francisco.
Like,
Uh,
sure, this is happening. It's going to be open.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think they're all things are go for quarter four of 2025. I want to say I think it's called Dreamstar or Dreamliner. and it's like high end train from LA to San Francisco.
Okay, I'm gonna have
I
to
think they
look
just
that
got, so I
up.
think, yeah, I think one of those might be coming down here, so that'd be pretty cool to check out as well.
That would be great. I mean, my sister, I lived in San Francisco for a while, and my sister's still up there just north of the city, and I have friends in San Francisco, and that can wind up being a pretty long drive when you leave. You usually catch rush hour at one end, one city or the other, or like the five is crazy. So
Oh yeah.
um, a train ride would be great. In fact, I was even just thinking about taking Amtrak up there maybe the next time. I can catch it here in Chatsworth or yeah, then pop up. So ooh, favorite locomotive. Alex, you can answer that one.
Favorite locomotive? Probably have a bias. I'd probably say F-59 PH. It's the first ones Metrolink had, the local commuter agency through here. Is their very first models that they purchased for their service, and
Uh,
that's what I've seen pretty much all my life. They still have, I think, 4 or 5 still running of their very first models, and I think they're very neat. Just because I've seen them so much growing up.
yeah. There you go. Any other questions, or any of you guys want to share what your favorite locomotive is in the comments? Feel free to chime in. That reminds me, it's on my agenda this evening to I have a box of some train cars to pull out and ornaments and anyways, I don't know if you guys have decorated yet, but it's like yay, I've got my poinsettia and my tiny little tree and ready to get it going. Speaking of locomotives, um I love the explorer. Yeah, there we go. um Okay, cool. Uh, you guys keep the questions coming. And Alex, is there anything I haven't asked you yet that you want to share?
I think we got a pretty good coverage of all the museum operations, a lot of the
Hmm.
how the museum works. Alex, are you sorry, just see
Yeah.
Derek Boone Senior. Are you a modeler? Yeah, I'm assuming model railroading. I do have a lot of model trains, mainly HO scale and N scale. I'm in a model railroading club, and we run model trains. I think it's pretty cool.
So, what club are you in?
It's the California Southern Model Railroad Club. It's in Norwalk. I go maybe once a month or so. And it's just a group of. It's kind of like the Fullerton Train Museum, just smaller. We run the model trains, and it's another great group of people. It's pretty fun.
Okay, awesome. I know that, yeah, there are a bunch, like, there's so many clubs in the area, in between, just in Southern California alone. There are a lot of clubs, and I know where probably a lot of you live, that there's a club somewhere nearby. My dad's store, the Train Loft, sponsors his train club, the one he's in, the Yadkin and Catawba Club,
Hmm.
which is in one of my episodes. That's all O gauge. So you guys are all HO and N, you said?
The model railroad club is all HO scale. Maybe about yeah, most of my collection is in HO scale, but I do have a few N scale items. I think N scale's really cool too.
Are you guys gonna be setting up anywhere for the holidays to like share your layout or anything?
We do have a Christmas event coming for the club. I'm not sure the exact details. I know every year we usually do a little Christmas event, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, it's a nice experience.
Okay, cool. I know there's also a guy reached out to me who watches my channel who Um, oh my goodness. It's near San Pedro. There's a park. Is it like Belmont? Belmont? No, not Belmont. That's Luxury Train Company. I don't know. Anyways, there are a couple clubs that have set up that are in the park there. Yeah, near San Pedro. Anyways, if you're someone who's in Southern California, I know that there's a place to go look at things. on the regular there. And there's another one of you that's reached out to me. I want to say Matt, if I'm remembering correctly, whose train club is down in San Diego. At Balboa Park. So you can go to the museum there and see what they're up to. And they've got some, holiday decor going. So this is, any time of year you can find and practically wherever you are, you can find something going on train related. But right now they're also, oh, cool. They're also like a bunch of, holiday related things. If you're going to be in the Southern California area, you can also go to Griffith Park. There's like a holiday train. You can ride the train there. Um, Alex, do you know about any other events that you want to share? And if any of you guys have something you want to mention that is going on that you really like, or that you want to go to, or that your own club or whatever is doing, feel free to mention it.
I would like to answer Derek again of how much does it cost to get started as modeler? Well, it costs about an arm and a leg. You see, I did give up my arm for it.
Oh my
It is a
God,
pretty
Alex,
expensive hobby, so I gave up my arm and a leg for it. It
did
can,
you
you know,
just do that to be funny? Read his question and pull your arm out?
no, no, this is an actual amputation that I acquired. You see, they were going to pay me about $700 for my left arm, and that's just about enough to get started with a few basic starter sets. Depending on the scale you go into, can be more expensive. HO scale and N scale are typically the cheapest to go into. You can get a good starter set for maybe 70 to $100 on the cheapest side for HO and N scale if you are interested, and they go up from there. The more bells and whistles, literally, that you want.
Yeah, I mean, sets have gotten, like easily, well, I'll speak to O gauge because I know more about O gauge, but easily like 400, 450 or so for a set, but you get everything you need in a box. Like it's all
Oh yeah.
there. But then if you're like, oh, maybe I want to do more here. I want to trestle. I want some raised things. I want to, change it up and I need some buildings, right? So
It just goes up and up in price.
yeah, and the building
Yeah.
can be like $100 easily. But you can also get crafty with some of this
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
especially like the natural landscaping and everything. So
Oh yeah.
and
O
by
scale
the
can get pretty pricey too.
yeah, you're right. I guess when it's like, yeah, bigger, more
Oh yeah.
resources and stuff, you can definitely buy some things used. People are selling things online and at train swap meets, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, so that's also an option. And you can always be a part of a train club, and then you have more access and more community. So okay, Coco asks if I live in California or were all these videos made on a visit. I do live in California. So during the pandemic, was back in North Carolina where I grew up. And I traveled out to California, but I was mostly in North Carolina. And I started filming some travel episodes. So first, my YouTube channel, if you look, it might say, oh, it's been around since like 2012 or something a long time ago. It really existed more for portfolio pieces for me. Like if I shot like a marketing video for someone, or I shot like something that I was dancing in, or certain things. So I put little pieces on my website. And then like 2 summers ago, I started filming mostly in small towns, like just who I would meet and the surprises, and kind of on the street and curiously exploring. But I came all the way out to California. I filmed in France. I went to my dad's train store. He was selling the big boy. If you're into O gauge, he came out with this Rio Grande scheme big boy that was a big thing last year and sold out. And there was a man in Barbados who bought one. And I helped my dad in his store a lot the last few years. And so I met a lot of friends. I met friends. I met people I'm still in touch with. And, yeah, so it was nice. You see the same people year to year. Anyways, so I talked with this guy in Barbados, and then my dad said, well, and I think even before I had, anyways, I met the guy in Barbados. That's somewhere on my YouTube too. Trains, it brings people together everywhere. So all to say that then I filmed a couple episodes in my dad's train store, but I was filming other things including in Barbados. Again, you can find that on here. And then oh yeah, there we go. Derek said he might ask for a train set this year. Um, and then end of May, I filmed in my dad's store for the third time. And then I went to the North Carolina Transportation Museum for the train show that his train club was in. And I filmed the show and I filmed a tour and things veered trains. So instead of just a travel series, and especially like, yeah, like I said, like maybe small town things, or like I went to the Livermush Festival in North Carolina. Don't I hadn't heard of Livermush either. Okay, so like just like these like fun things. It's just like the train theme emerged, and I love to travel, and I love nostalgia, and I love community, and I love things that bring people together, and history, and just like interesting unique things, and you get a lot of that when you go to a train event or a train museum, or just like the people that are end up drawn there. And then recently, when I mean, this is a long answer, but anyways, thanks for sticking with me. And then when I was on that Santa Fe recently, I mean, first of all, like we were talking about, good question about travel, like I want to do a lot more train travel, but I have traveled like Amtrak, like North Carolina to New Jersey. I've traveled like Amtrak Alameda to wine country in Northern California. I've traveled by train in France and Austria and in Czech Republic and Italy. And so I'm big into travel and unique ways of really just living life. Even my car is a convertible, which you've seen in the episodes. Like just making like even the basic things at point A to point B a little more interesting. Um, and I found such community and warm people in the train community. Like Alex, he really stood out, and I just really appreciate that. So there's my long thing. So all to say, I'm getting there. That then end of February of this year, I drove from North Carolina back to California. So I lived in California for 15 years, and I came back at the end of February. You okay there, Alex?
Yeah, sorry, a little bit of water went down the wrong pipe.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. And along the way, I stopped in Oklahoma, and you can see I have an episode like trains east to west or something about blah 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 east to west, and you see in that episode like some train tracks going out over the water, like in New Bern, North Carolina, and you see an old train car in Oklahoma. And I stopped in Flagstaff, Arizona, so that's where that came from, which was also, I'd say, Flagstaff and Fullerton in terms of like colorful trains. I'm concerned about you, Alex. Like
I'm doing
little.
good. I'm sorry, just I think I'm good now.
Okay. Fullerton and Flagstaff really were great spots for really colorful trains going by, and you're right there. And yeah, yeah, a really good spot for some train spotting. And both have museums, especially essentially in Flagstaff. There's the depot there, and they have a little teeny tiny engaged train going around. They have another train around the top, and lots of stuff inside. Again, you can see it in my Flagstaff staff episode. And then yeah, so both of those, and I did an episode recently that was just trains, just rideable trains. Oh yeah, and so that also included Flagstaff. So you see it in there, as well as Fullerton, as well as some little small 7.5 gauge trains. Anyways, so yes, I live in California. I live in the LA area in a very small town. And so I feel very lucky that there are things going on all the time. I can't even get to all the train related events and happenings, and it's really wonderful. And there are places worldwide I want to go with this series. Okay, how much Coke do you have, Alex?
Sorry, I have a little bit of a sore throat. The carbonation helps it a bit.
Okay, is that what are you drinking Coke?
Oh yeah, I just have a little can on me.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, some. Wait a second, he's only been opening Coke at the beginning. Yeah, okay, all right. um, okay, someone asked. Yeah, okay. What has been my favorite shoot and why? I can't have favorites. I can't choose favorites. Um, I'll just say that like I meet nice people everywhere I go. And that is like really so great. And I almost always here and there, like Fullerton, I mean, I had sent an email like I'm planning on coming. In fact, the first time I was gonna come, I had like a horrible cold COVID, who knows what it was, but like I didn't go. That didn't happen. So I finally made it there. A couple times I'll reach out ahead of time, let people know I'm coming. Most of the time I don't. It's very spontaneous. It's very natural. Nobody, nobody's like uh prepared or doing something special because I'm there, hopefully. Like hopefully it's like just all around more authentic. Anyways, I meet nice people everywhere and very quickly. I know this particularly happened at the Santa Susana. Have you been there before, Alex? Santa Susana
I don't think so. It
uh
doesn't ring a bell.
train station and depot, and there's a museum in the depot was moved there. It's not in its original spot. First of all, Santa Susana, if any of you again come to Southern California, are beautiful. Like the Santa Susana Pass was just wonderful. And then within this depot is a museum, and on the other side there's a train club that has a model train you can look at. So I definitely recommend that. I have a couple episodes you can check out of those sorts of things. Anyways, when I was on the little tour there filming, someone was like, "Oh, I watch your channel," and it was just like nice to be connecting with someone like in person who watched, and to know I was like reaching folks that were into this kind of thing. And then one of them that was on that tour I saw later at Union Station, when I went to the rail safety event, as well as a guy named Jason who'd been at my Southern California Railway Museum, the third episode, the train talk episode, where you see like four people on the thumbnail. So he was there. Is like, oh hey, nice to see you again. There were other people that came up. Other A whole other family from the LA Steamers that I filmed. Anthony, so he was there too. I gave his son a hug. Like, so I think it's just I don't have one favorite episode. I just love meeting, going from strangers to not strangers. And when I then even run into the same people again, or like right now find myself with Alex, um, it's like, yay. It's special. It's community. And it's like anything, like when you keep finding your people, they know each other, that, oh yeah, like you're talking about like who, whatever, you guys collaborated with the San Bernardino Historical Society before. It's like, oh okay, yeah, I know Tim over there, so fun times. A dream shoot. um so a dream shoot I have that I would love to do this coming year. We'll see, this channel needs to grow like a lot for this to happen. But I would love to. I love France. I lived in France before. I would love to take the train from Paris to Istanbul. I would love to go that classic route. There's a lot of places I haven't seen along the way before. Um, so yeah, that would be a dream. And really back to Italy. I would love to take a train in Italy, like take it for some beauty, like, and I would love to take one of these luxury trains, like they're just so beautiful and so charming. I mean, when we all, right, but yeah, that's so Europe. I love Europe so much. I know in the last one of these with Otto, I talked about Canada, and I mean that's still of interest as well. um I don't know. There's so many places, even like I don't know. There's something popped up in like China, and then something popped up. I almost feel like in Ukraine or somewhere that I didn't know about. That was kind of a unique train related spot, and I love getting recommendations. So any of you guys, Alex is a very funny guy. Yeah, what's going on over there? I feel like are you like are you like typing to a friend? Do you have like somebody like what's happening? I
Oh no,
see
sorry. I'm just
giggles. I see
I'm
giggles.
I'm a fidgety person. I'm just fidgeting.
It's just okay. I'm like, what's happening?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just no. I'm not. No,
No, no, keep
I'm
laughing. It's
just
all
reading the
good.
comments.
Oh,
I
about
can't
the
keep my
Coke?
hand.
Yeah, 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 the
I'm just
Coke.
twiddling my thumbs.
Twiddle away, twiddle away. In fact, I've been noticing. Okay, so now you're twiddling, but like prior to, I'm like, you've been in your chair, and I'm like, I'm here, and then I like prop my like thing up, and then I'm here, but like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't sit still. What the heck? I need to look into that. That's why I love filming because I'm on my feet and I'm in motion and I'm looking around and constantly spotting interesting things and talking to people, and there's like always something to do. It's a lot of stimulation, a lot of learning, and I don't do well when I'm sitting still, but I do well when I'm engaged with nice people, so that's good. I love that. Okay, any other questions? What have you got? Let me I'll look down at what I've written down. If there's anything else I want to talk about. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, let's see. Train club. Um, hey, where's this Christmas event that your train club is a part of? What is the date? Where is it? And did you say it's the California Southern?
I I need to check my email.
Okay,
I'm not as involved with the California Southern as I am with the Fullerton Museum.
okay,
I do know that there is usually a Christmas event. I don't really have any. Uh, I don't really have much information on it.
okay. That's all good. I'm gonna look that up. And I'll say I got an email today from the Lomita something. Hello, yeah, again, I should have my computer open, but I'm like trying to be present and just right here, but I'm like, but yeah, like Lomita Railroad, something, Lomita Museum, whatever. Anyways, they're doing something Christmassy again. If you're in this area, there are a lot of trains around, like there are a lot of Polar Express experiences, or they've named it something similar and haven't had to go through the money and red tape and et cetera, with the Polar Express, copyright. So if you're looking for a train ride this holiday season, you can probably find just look into whatever is nearby, because I know they have one here at the Southern California Railway Museum. And like I said, I was going to go originally with my family, and wasn't able to get back. So hopefully next year. But the North Carolina Transportation Museum certainly has a Polar Express ride. I know in Western North Carolina, there's also another place where you can ride the Polar Express. I don't know for sure that that's happening this year. I don't want to plant a seed that it's not. I'm just saying, I don't know. Hurricane, I'm not sure what their situation is after Hurricane Helene. But yeah, lots of like, you think of like holidays and trains, and you watch Christmas Story and they're looking through the window and there's a train going around, and I don't know, every day is a good day for trains. A lot of people would say, but especially this time of year. um how is the club governed? Do you
I'm
know?
not for the Model Railroad Club. I know there's a board. And there's different like department. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I know that there's board meetings and like like member meetings every
Oh,
month.
okay, so it is
I
organized.
there is an organization, but I don't know too much about it. I'm not
Mhm.
as nearly as involved with the Model Railroad Club as I am with the Fullerton Train Museum. But it is they're both nice places. They're nice people in both.
Okay, excellent. All right, and so as you move into your adulthood, out of college, etc., in the coming years, how do you see trains being a part of your life?
Well, right now I take Metrolink almost every day to get to school. Um, so it's
That's awesome.
students get free Metrolink tickets, and parking and gas are just so expensive at going up to Fullerton. So I take the train up to the Cal State Fullerton every day, and it works out. I take the train up, take the train back, free parking, don't have to worry about gas, free tickets. It works out nice.
Oh, that is great. I know. I got a like alert on my car this last week of like, you need service or whatever. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
I don't need an oil change yet. What's the deal? But it's like it's sending me a message that I need to pay attention to that. So yeah, it's nice when you can hop on a train and just take that around. And I know the episode I did going, I'm trying to think if it was the Santa Fe one. No, it was for salsa dancing at Union Station. I filmed a little bit on the way, like the traffic, just to exemplify what could have been avoided by train. So,
oh
yeah,
yeah. I've taken a train up to LA Union Station for events before. That's the way to do it.
yeah, yeah. Especially when you get there, like the parking is very.
Oh yeah,
I've got like one. I've got a spot. I've got a spot that I've like forgotten about, but it's like a little. It's like a little down the street. It's a little dark. It's a little like it's fine. I don't know if everyone would feel safe there, but like I think it's fine. But anyways, the parking there is kind of expensive and it
oh yeah,
gets full fast. So I know when I've thought about that, I'm like, oh no, like avoid if you can driving there. For sure. Yeah, I went to the tree. I don't know if any of you have been to Union Station in LA. Feel free to let me know if you have. Obviously, Alex has, and I have. And I was there this past week with my sister and my niece. My niece, who is in also the Sonoma Train Town episode. And because Union Station did a big tree lighting. So in that same room where there was salsa dancing in the previous episode, they had a big tree and music and number, but it was like packed. There were so many people there. There's a lot going on. You could get like a free cookie and like music. Yeah, lots happening. Um, Most memorable train experience. Oh yeah, you went to Union Station. Okay, good. Oh, you got robbed. Oh no. Terrible. That's terrible. Okay, so yeah, okay. Let everyone be careful wherever you are. I am sorry that you experienced that. That is a bummer. I got robbed at the Louvre Museum. I sat down, I sat a bag right beside me and took a call. I mean, like how often was I on the phone in France? Not much, but I was like, and someone just, like picked up my bag with my camera in it, and that was that. And it was like I was like, I should have been like freaking on it. Like, anyways, all right. That's like really not related to trains at all. Okay, but I will say that Union Station, I hope Coco, you generally feel safe there. I don't know, that might have left like a little kind of bad feeling. I generally felt safe at Union Station. I found it to be clean, charming, beautiful, not crowded, but a sense of like there are people there. They're coming through there. It's not like it's just like nothing's happening. There's stuff happening, but it's like calm for the most part. So yeah. All right. Most memorable train experience. Alex, do you have one?
most memorable.
I'll go first.
All right,
While you think, not
I'll
to,
think.
but just because while you're thinking, I'll just say, well, first of all, I mentioned that I took the Amtrak once. I flew out. I met one of my best friends there, a childhood best friend, right after finishing high school. And we met in San Francisco. It was my first trip to San Francisco. And my uncle was living in Alameda at the time, my Uncle Steve. And so we took the Amtrak from there to wine country. And then we hopped off and we biked for like 25 miles around wine country. I mean, we weren't 21. We couldn't really even go to the wineries. I mean, personally, I love the wineries just for like, it's like beautiful buildings, beautiful countryside. Like you don't need to drink wine to like enjoy a winery, but we weren't really probably as welcomed there with our age at the time. So anyways, but we just like biked around. But that was really cool, like taking the train and then doing a bike ride around wine country. The other like less pleasant while it was happening train ride, so memorable but not in like a wow way, was when I took a train from Milan in Italy all the way down to Sicily. It was 18 hours. Okay. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did take a train from Milan to Florence and Rome. I think the train, though, from I believe it was Rome or Florence, one of them, all the way down to Sicily, that was 18 hours. And it was an overnight sleeper train, car, room thing that had like bunk beds on both sides. I think it was both sides. I can't even remember what was going on the other side, but there were definitely bunk beds where I was. And this bunk was like, it was so close to my face, like so close and just so uncomfortable. 18 it was like the worst. It was one of the worst nights of sleep. Spending the night in the airport, a rough night. Oh, and an airport in Brazil. That was another rough night sleeping. But this train ride was like, and I just remember thinking like this, it better be amazing at the end because 18 hours on this thing and like sleeping like this is like really not pleasant. And the train was like not at all like a luxury train. This was no Orient Express. This was like the opposite. Like it really could have used a major refresh. But when I did get to the other end, to Sicily, I took a boat, a hydrofoil out to one of the islands, Stromboli, and it's like volcanic and black sand beaches, and hiked up to the top, and you're watching the sun set and the moon come up and the lava. So the end of that train ride was memorable in like an outstanding way.
Oh
And
yeah, no, the trains over the on the Mediterranean are really nice.
yeah.
No,
Do you have a most memorable train experience you would like to
I
share?
took I've taken the Sunset Limited from LA to Texas before. That's about 36 hours. And we were about 8 hours late towards the end of it. I got free snacks though.
What, did it leave on time?
I left on time, but then there was a hurricane, and that kind of delayed a few things. This was during the summertime, like early summer. It was when approaching the Gulf of Mexico area. There was a hurricane blocking the train tracks. That delayed us a little bit. So
Wow.
that was an experience.
Oh my gosh. That makes me start thinking on also Derek's previous question about like other train rides and stuff. Like I want to go do the Durango Silverton or go to like that area. Like I want to do that when it's snowy. Like I want to get the snowy. I mean, I really love living here, and if you just drive a couple hours, as Alex knows, a couple hours east, you can get snow. You can get people skiing. Like there can be lots of snow. I mean, there was like a blizzard a year or so ago that was, like a major issue. So we got the snow, but the yeah, the idea of going through the mountains on that line in Colorado with it snowy and like especially if it was like an old steam engine, it just that would be a really cool experience. It just feels like a quintessential like wintry, I don't know, kind of a thing. I've also thought taking the train all the way to New Orleans could be cool. I think there's a train that goes.
The Sunset Limited, if you stay on it, it will go all the way to New Orleans,
Okay. So where did you hop off in Texas?
around Austin area.
Okay, awesome.
We
All
took
right,
train up
cool.
to Austin.
Okay,
It's a good
awesome.
trip. I met a lot of special people on the train. Met a German dude. Let's see, some alcoholic, a few
Okay.
homeless people that gave me sleeper activation codes. Very strange people. I got like a slip that had like a whole bunch of random phrases on it, and it said it was supposed to elevate my soul. I'm pretty sure they thought I was a sleeper agent, and that was my activation code. Can't be too certain these days. You gotta look out for yourself. Funny people on the train. I had to sleep in a chair too. I was sleeping on a chair for 8 hours, and someone random was sitting next to me. I didn't know who it was, and I was just sleeping there with all my stuff around me. Great experience. Would recommend.
Wait, hold on. You took this train to Austin, but you were never in a sleeper car?
I was not in a sleeper car. I was in coach. I was in a chair. I slept in a chair on a
For
train.
30, how many hours?
Yeah, it's about 36 hours.
Yeah, I thought you said that. I just had to get confirmation because I thought,
I
oh
was
my
in a
God.
chair.
Okay, okay, then you know what? I retract my complaint about 18 hours. on really close bunk bed things in a really, really old train in Italy, because that would be tough.
Yeah, my back was upright for almost 40 hours until I went to bed the
I'm just like
evening
imagining
2
trying
days
to.
later.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Sleeping in a chair on Amtrak is arguably better than the sleeper cars, in my opinion. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, the train I was on was like, it was super old and like just didn't. I don't know if I can say it really felt clean. And then also, yeah, it was. Oh yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, that is a long. That's a long ways to go
No,
sitting.
they gave me free snacks. I love free snacks. They gave me brownie bites and gummies, and I don't know, it was just free snacks, and they're delicious. And then this one like billionaire investor, and I'm not even joking, this one like investor dude I was talking to, and he like had the shares and everything, and he said, "Oh, don't you know those are poison?" So apparently I'm being poisoned by Amtrak, but I'm also sleeping sitting next to some investor billionaire, while some homeless dude's giving me, if you want like a cultural melting pot of everyone, take Amtrak. I swear the people you'll meet. Something else.
Um. Okay, well, gummy bears are pretty much poison. I mean, if we
I
really
mean, yeah, if
wanted
you
to,
choke on them, it can be
turn
pretty
this
bad for
into
you.
like nutrition and all the toxicity in our food, he's probably pretty valid in saying that who knows what's in those things.
95% fructose, 0.25%
Of- of-
flavoring. It
and then
was
some
fruit
words we don't know how to
concentrate, and
pronounce, right? Like the words that are like, what is this? And then like some gums, like gum.
yeah,
Anyway,
Gumagar, that was 0.06%, and then 0.02% of ascorbic acid. That's vitamin C. That's actually pretty good for you.
that's true. All right, there we go. That's yeah. Okay, I love what you said, and it's a really good ending point too, because about like all the different kinds of people you can meet on a train. And I definitely even just at like train events and things feel like I meet like all kinds of different people, but that yeah, that does sound like an eclectic mix. And I feel like, a really good solid train trip in 2025 could there could be like a lot of interesting train talk going on for my channel, and yeah, a lot of interesting especially a trip that long. It's just like where who's hopping on where and where they're going to and like why and all that.
Oh yeah, no, I've met all sorts of different people because they assign you. You don't get to choose who you're sitting at dinner or where you're
It's-
sitting. I
oh,
sat next to a great grandma. I sat next to a. Actually, I don't think that's a PG rated profession I can say on this channel, but
okay, yeah,
fill in
no,
the
yeah,
blank. Very
we're
interesting people
fun.
getting on at Austin. I'll tell you that much. But
Interesting.
a lot of special people.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you never know who you'll meet on a train or in life, and everybody's got interesting stories, and yeah, and I'm glad to be able to share a lot of people's stories on here, that are like real, yeah, real people, real lives. And I love all your comments, here and on the other episodes. I just want to say that, like, when people end up sharing either like more information, or like their personal anecdotes, it's so meaningful. It adds a lot to what happens here. So thank you very much. Thank you so much, Alex. We're, about to hit 5 here. So, unless anyone has anything just like that they feel like they have to ask, they haven't gotten off their chest yet. I really thank you for taking the time, Alex, especially in this like holiday week and on a Sunday. And yeah, you were so nice and helpful when I met you and shared so much. And I'm like glad to have gotten to like have a one-on-one, because when Alex and I talked that day for the episode, it was like boom, 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 boom. I mean, the episode I think was, well, I think I probably filmed for 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, not real long. So obviously there's like so much more that we were able to talk about here. So it's nice to get the chance to kind of like deep dive in a little bit more. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a great
Yay.
time.
Yay. Well, thank you all for being with us today. It's really nice, especially to see like the live comments. It's a whole nother experience and the live questions and everything. Um and you'll be able to watch this. It will be available to you on my channel. At first, unlisted for you guys who are here present today, and then later it will be with ads open to the public. But for now, this was just like a special kind of thing. So, anyways, thank you. Good morning. Okay,
Or,
big doorbell. Big doorbell. Who has a big doorbell? I mean, goodbye.
or
Oh God, this is great. I love this. Okay, we had a fun time today. So thank you all again. Thank you, Alex. And I will see you soon. And Alex, I will have to make another visit to the Fullerton Train Museum.
all right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to you, Derek, and
Yes.
goodbye,
Happy.
Coco and Spacey Cat.
Yes. Thank you all for being here. And yes, happy holidays to you too. And see you soon.
Take care.
Bye.